Jim, as he brings your message this morning, Father, we pray that you use him in a mighty way. Just explain your message to all of us that we might come closer to you and the things you would have us do to walk with this day through our lives. In this part of the service, we'll be trying to pay back a small part of what you do for us each and every day, Lord. Just pray that you take these offerings and use them for your glory, for your honor throughout this community. So this now, and then God, and direct the remainder of this service. Pray that your will be done. These things we ask in Christ's name.
Bible with you this morning. Let me see them Bibles. Hold them high. Be proud of them. You know, that's the most priceless thing you own.
Amen.
Even if you got $1 million, this is worth more.
Amen.
Who's got $1 million? Come down to your house. Mark chapter 6. We're going to continue on. I thought, before we continue on, we'd have a little fun now, right? Who wants to have some fun this morning? I got a couple of amens. Usually when I say, we're going to have some fun this morning, somebody else, that's when, oh no. Not again. So, here's what I was thinking about, because as I was sitting in Sunday school class this morning, and it's amazing how God oftentimes works out the things that He's trying to get across to His people, that they just go so well together. So I thought, you know what? Most of the folks were in Sunday school this morning. Who was in Sunday school this morning? You notice I said who was in Sunday school rather than say who wasn't here, because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But here's the thing about the little fun we're going to have. If you wasn't in Sunday school this morning, then you get a 0 because you don't know the answers to the review questions. How many of you here, or who can tell me what the title of our Sunday school lesson was this morning?
God is near.
God is near. Was that y'all's title? I know the youth book's different from the adults, so. And we just need to get y'all on the same page with it. Huh? Maybe we didn't put y'all on the same plan, but we're all on, right?
His faithfulness.
His faithfulness. See there? Young, everybody knows, right? Bill knows everybody. All right, how about this? What was the key doctrine in the Sunday school lesson? The key doctrine. You know, we have the scripture, and then you got the reading, but usually in that little pink section right there it says this is the key doctrine, the key thought for the week. Who reads the key thought and thinks about it and says, I see that now. Well, what good does it do to go to Sunday school and not going to remember? She's going, I don't know, I forgot that too. Who are you? The key doctrine said the kingdom is the realm of salvation into which men enter by trustful, childlike commitment to Jesus.
Read that again.
The kingdom is the realm of salvation into which men and ladies, we're not going to go out, all men and women, enter by trustful, childlike commitment to Jesus Christ. That's a fancy way of saying that we come to Christ by faith. We accept Him at His word. And how well that goes with it, with what we're going to talk about today. So, there was another sentence in the lesson, though, that just jumped out at me, and I thought, you know what, that needs to be reiterated, because this is an important concept for us to know, especially as Baptists. While we're talking about Baptists, let me chase another rabbit. Last night was a very busy night in Dyer County. Now, if you know what, most of you know what I do on my other side, the other work I do, and it was busy. And, you know, for those folks that we deal with in that line of work, they're not exactly the most upstanding. Testimonial crowd. I mean, if you got a witness, you're supposed to guard it, right? So, it was a busy night, and let me just preface that and finish and wrap the whole thought up by saying this. If you were ever confronted by the police in the middle of the night, it's probably not a good idea for you to go, oh yeah, I'm Baptist. That's not protecting a witness. Okay, here's where it's going to get fun. All right, the sentence I read this morning says, God has both the wisdom and the power to accomplish His good purpose. Now, what was the key word in that whole sentence?
God's.
We know God has the wisdom, and we know He has the power. And He has the wisdom and the power to do what? To accomplish whose good purpose? His. It doesn't matter what we think He should do. It doesn't matter what we expect Him to do or expect Him not to do. He's going to work all things out for His purposes. And that's an important concept for us to remember, because how many times do we get upset and stomp our feet because I didn't get control. Can you remember that? Let me hear y'all say it. God is in control. Now, when I mention that phrase again, if I say, what was that phrase? I want everybody to shout out, God is in control. So you've got permission now in my sermon to just shout that out when you think I'm expecting to hear that. God is in control. Right? Who's in charge here? God. See, now we got it. We're going to have some fun. Let's get started. Mark chapter 6. Let's stand for the reading of the Word. We'll get to reading out of the way and we'll jump right in. We'll try to figure out what it means by the title, what I wrote, Lord, and what it means for us. So, Mark chapter 6, start at verse 46. Well, let's start at 45. It says, immediately he made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent them away, he departed to the mountain to pray. Now when evening came, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the land. Then he saw them straining at rowing, for the wind was against him. Now about the fourth watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea, and would have passed by them. And when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed it was a ghost, and cried out. For they all saw him and were troubled. But immediately he talked with them, and he said, Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid. Then he went up into the boat to them, and the wind ceased, and they were greatly amazed in themselves beyond measure and marveled. For they had not understood about the loaves, because their heart was hardened. When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret, and anchored there. And when they came out of the boat, immediately the people recognized him, ran through the whole surrounding region, and began to carry about on beds those who were sick, to wherever they heard he was. Whenever he entered into a villages, cities, or the country, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might just touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched him were made well. Zach, you want to pray for us?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for a beautiful morning, God. We thank you for the sunshine, for another breath of life, and God, just the opportunity that we have to come to your house and to worship you. God, I pray that right now we open our hearts and minds to what you have to speak through Brother Tim, God. May you just hide him behind the cross. May he just glorify you in everything that he says and does, God. Just protect him against the evil works, God. Just keep his mind focused on you. Keep our minds focused on what you have to say through him today, God. May we just apply the words that we hear to our lives so we may be better witnesses, better warriors for you, God. We love you, we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Mark chapter 6. Do you remember what was going on in the first part of chapter 6 when I was up here talking last? It's important to remember the title of that message was Lord, in parentheses, even the little things. Because Jesus, you remember, had taken a couple of small fish, a couple of loaves of bread, and he fed maybe 15,000 to 20,000 people. You know why he could do that?
God is in control.
Because God is in control. It was his will to provide. Did you catch that? It is his will to provide. That's a beautiful thought in itself. And so our story picks up right where we left off. We've left those poor disciples standing there for 2 weeks now holding them 12 baskets of leftovers they had picked up. You know that Baptist expression like, what do we do next? Jesus, it says, immediately he made them get in the boat and go to the other side to Bethsaida while he sent the multitudes away. Now, could you just imagine how that went? Guys, get in the boat, get out of here. Oh, but look at all these people. We still got locked in it. No, just go and get. But what about you? No, go and get. Or are you coming from? No, go and get. Could you just imagine how that went? And finally, they did what he said, got the boat. Why would Jesus send the disciples off in such a hurry? Have you ever wondered about that? These disciples are, as the scripture says here, it's already told us in verse 52, they had not understood about the loaves because their heart was hardened. Now, I don't want us to get a misunderstanding about what that means. They wasn't hard toward Jesus. They were just, well, you ladies can tell us what men are. What are men?
Stubborn.
Stubborn. They're hard-headed. Not necessarily hard-hearted, they're just hard-headed. And they're often interchangeable, right? So, Kara really got a kick out of that one. So we've got these disciples, and Jesus sees the crowds. He sees them. He knows the state of their mind, the state of their hearts, because through his whole ministry, they've been questioned, they've doubted, they've stumbled, they've fallen, they've questioned. And even before he fed the 5,000 there, they were like, what are we going to do? We can't feed all this. They still doubted who Jesus was. And so Jesus, realizing what was going on with this crowd, because you know what the crowd was ready to do? Jesus had just fed them, this huge crowd, a meal. We need to make him king. Yeah. You know what? That's still the way things work today. You ever notice how politicians get elected? The one who promises the most gets the job. Jesus has just fed the masses. They were ready to crown him king. Jesus knows, hey, this is not the time, this is not the way, and I don't need my disciples getting on board with the way the people are thinking. So that made me why he said, hey, get in the boat, get out of here. You don't need to be around this. Also, another reason he was wanting to get them out of there maybe and disperse the crowd was he was needing some time alone with the Father, because where's he going next? We find him up in the mountains praying. Now, what a beautiful picture. He realizes the masses want to crown him king. He sees that, as the saying goes, he sees the tide turning. He knows there's fixed. He knows what's ahead. He knows he's fixed to clash and bump heads with the religious leaders. And he's headed to Jerusalem. He knows he's going to persecution is fixing to hit. And he needs some time alone with the Father. Now, let me ask you something. If Jesus sees the storm coming, and Jesus needs some alone time, some prayer time with the Father, what does that tell us we need when we see the storms coming? Prayer. All too often, we're so guilty of, I can handle this, I can do that, I can get through this, they're not going to get me down. In the end, we're just like, we're down, I can't take it. Why is it man has to hit bottom before he'll look up? You ever wonder what that? Stubborn. The women in front are stuck on stubborn. Now hear this? Stubborn. But it's okay for a man to be stubborn. You want to know why? Because God is in control, not man. There we go. So they're still filled with doubt. They're still filled with unbelief. And, you know, a lot of preachers, which is about every preacher, preaches passages. Something. Matter of fact, I preached through this from a seminary out in Matthew of this, and they always talk about the storms of life and facing the storm. And that gives us hope, right? Because, and that's not the message today. We're going to completely cut that out because it's happened that long since you heard it. Y'all know we face storms in life. Amen. Troubles hit us when we least expect it. That's part of the experience. That's what makes us grow, right? How many of you have ever known a child who got everything they wanted? They didn't have to do anything they didn't want to do, and everything was always done for them. What kind of person did they grow up to be? Now, how many of you men have gone to the gym and lifted weights? Want to be a big bodybuilder? Want to have a big Arnold Schwarzenegger arms? Nobody? Y'all don't know what you're missing. Okay. No. In order to build those muscles, you know what you have to do? You've got to tax those muscles. You work them till they're just sore, hurting, and ready to fall off. You're walking that one. I'm never going to do that again. But then a day or two, what do? You go back and you do the same thing. And when that muscle gets used to doing it, that weight you've been working on, you're like, look here, I can do this now. Is that all you're going to do? What are you going to do next? Add more weight. If God wants to grow our faith, what is He going to do? He's sending more trouble. Because how do we grow? We grow our faith through adversity, through all the hardships we face. Believe me, we don't just randomly have to go through all these hardships. God sends them to us for a reason, for a purpose. And they're highly individual. He has a life plan that I'm going to have to suffer through, and it's going to be different from yours. We all suffer differently. Most things are in common. Nobody's ever experienced something nobody else has, right?
Exactly.
But we have our own unique experiences when it comes down to it. You haven't suffered like I have. I haven't suffered some of the things you have. Because what? I didn't need to suffer through your problems. You didn't need to face the same problems I needed to face. God has a plan for each and every one of us, and He's growing us to that point. So, we understand the concept of this passage about the storms. Jesus had sent those disciples in the boat. Let me ask you, and we talked about this before when we talked about this passage before, do you think Jesus knew the storm was coming?
Yes.
Absolutely. Jesus created the storm. He sent the storm. Why? This is what I want you to see out of this passage today. We're not going to go back and break down all these storms. We're going to telescope out a little bit and get this big picture. I want you to see that we're talking about the Lord, Jesus Christ, the Lord, and what it all means for us today. Do you understand? We're supposed to take the Word of God and apply it to our lives today.
Amen.
And why can we do this? Because God is in control. It's His Word. It's what He wants us to do. He's given us a blueprint. You know how you build a house? You take a blueprint and you start putting the materials together. God's given us a blueprint, and He's given us our own unique individual materials, and we have to put our lives together. With His help, we allow the Master Builder to work through us, right? And so, here's what I want you to see, this big overview of what's going on. Now, Jesus is short 3-year ministry, right? So He's got these 12 disciples, and He's given them some very intense training. It's just completely compressed. It's like we're going to cover a year's worth of material in 2 months because I don't have time. Y'all got to know this stuff. And so He's growing through a lot. That's why they seem to go through one trouble after another, one fall after another, one doubt after another. You know what? 11 of them always struggled. One of them never died. And he died after betraying Jesus. And today, he's a man. This was a man who saw Jesus, followed Jesus, witnessed His works, and yet still didn't believe. And this is the whole overview. Jesus is teaching them to have faith and trust in Him because God's in control. And we, as believers, need to understand that. Think about all that the disciples had witnessed. They had saw Jesus raise people from the dead, heal all kinds of sicknesses, minister to people, exorcisms, throw demons out of people. And he's done the miraculous from just day after day after day, right up to this point where He has just fed all these people, and still it says their hearts were hardened. And so what's He do? Well, guys, it's time for the storm to go. And here is what you need to understand out of this passage. They entered the storm, and we've talked about these storms before out on that lake. You know, we know those storms just come up out of nowhere. And when was the last time we found Jesus when one of those storms came up?
Asleep.
He was asleep in the boat with the disciples. And what the disciples did? Oh, we're going to die. Lord, save us. Wake up. You got to do something. I love the irony. We've got these seasoned sailors waking up this carpenter and saying, hey, save us. What's he going to take a hammer and beat him to death? But anyway, we find Jesus is not in the boat. Jesus is up in the mountain, but there's an important principle we need to understand. They didn't trust Him, they didn't have enough faith in Him when He was in the boat until after the fact, and they witnessed what He did. He woke up, and what happened? The sea just was instantly silent, just dead. You could have dropped a feather right there and not even seen it. And they were like, wow. When Jesus is here, look what happens. But now in this boat, Jesus is not here. And they're really struggling. This is one of them storms because, I don't know, how many times have y'all ever read this particular passage? You know this story? Have you ever caught where they were going and where they ended up? Jesus had put them in the boat and said, hey, I want you to cross over to Bethsaida. the storm had actually blown them probably 5 miles away from where they were supposed to be going. And that takes some wind and some storm, doesn't it? And it says they were struggling, they were fighting, they were getting scared. And here's a beautiful thing that we need to see in this passage. And this takes some hindsight for them, but we already have the hindsight because we're 2,000 plus years past and we can see it and know. It's kind of like knowing the story of Job. Job didn't know why he was suffering, but we do because we read the story. These guys are in the boat. It says Jesus is in the mountain praying. Now, what's he praying for? He's praying for his ministry. He's praying for the government. He's praying for the state of the. Who knows what's on Jesus' prayer list? It's probably a lot bigger than mine and yours combined put together and along with everybody else in the world. But he's praying. But he's also praying for his disciples. I know that because Scripture says he saw them. He's in the mountain alone, but he saw them. The disciples are out in the storm alone, and they don't have a clue where he is. And this doesn't matter because God is in control. In other words, Jesus is in the mountain. He knows even with all the heavy stress on him, he sees the cross before it happens. He knows where he's headed. He knows why he's going. He knows the church is supposed to be persecuted. He knows he's supposed to be crucified. And all these things he's praying over, he's still concerned about his disciples. He still sees them. He knows they're struggling. And what does he do? He goes to them. And that's what we need to understand. Even when Jesus was not with them, he was with them. He saw them, and when they needed him, he was there. And then it says he went walking by as if to pass them by. And why would he do that? He wants to see if they will recognize him and call out to him for help because he is in control. He's God. And this is all about discovering his deity. And so he's walking by, and it doesn't say anything about them recognizing who he was or calling out to him for help. It says they looked out there, saw something on the water, and screamed like a bunch of sissies because they thought it was a ghost. Ah! It's a ghost. Ghost stories been around for centuries. You realize that? It's in the Bible. You can find witches in the Bible, goblins and demons. There's all kind of cool stuff in there. But they were scared at first, and what does he say? What does he say? Be of good cheer. It's I, like the way Scripture says it, it's I. Hey, it's me, guys, wait a minute. And this was an emphatic pronoun. It was, the way it was written in the original words, he was saying, I am. Don't be afraid. I am. And what does that mean to them? That's God. All the way back to Exodus. Right? I am. And if God shows up, if he's there, guess what happens? God's in control. You've got nothing to worry about. So, during the storm of their lives, Jesus showed up and they've got nothing to worry about. What's that say about our storms? No matter how bad it is, no matter how deep the sorrow goes, no matter how troubling the burden is to bear, God is in control. God sent it to you for reason and purpose. And that's to grow our faith. We all know, we've all had men and women in our lives who we look back on, maybe somebody we worshiped as kids because they were people of great faith. We just knew they had a strong walk with the Lord, didn't we? Y'all know folks like that, or knew folks like that? You realized they just didn't wake up one day and boom. They were full of faith and had no doubt and walked with God. They grew to that point from salvation, from all those infant years of being a baby in Christ. They matured and they went through hard. And you need to understand, the people who seem the most faithful have probably suffered the most. Let me give you a contemporary example. Melissa always likes to talk about Brother Mark. We know Mark, man of faith, strong man with God. I mean, you witness that in his life. Do you understand how he got there? One day Jesus said to God, Mark's just been saved. How do we grow his faith? You know what God said? Give him girls. We see the storm was important. It was growing their faith. And what we need to realize is, even when we don't see Jesus, we can't see his hand. He is watching. He's there. And he's more concerned about us than we are. Because we are here to serve his purpose and his plans. And he's out to see that his purpose and plans are accomplished. Like it tells us in Romans 8, all things are going to work out for his purposes. Right? So all things are going to work out for the good. No matter how bad it may seem, it's working out for some good. So, but there's also something else in here we need to see. If we just telescope out a little bit further, we can also see a picture of the church. You know, a lot of churches these days aren't walking in faith. They've lost sight of Jesus. Their God has become too small. And they start compromising. You see, when we're saved, God, what did Jesus do? He sent his disciples in the boat to go through the storm. Jesus sees the big picture. He knows he's going to the crucifixion. And he also knows there's a storm coming. Because you know what? On the day of Pentecost, Peter's going to get up. He's going to preach this powerful sermon. And why is he going to be able to do that? Because he's gone through the storms. His faith has been built. He's become bold. He's become courageous. He's never going to deny Jesus again. As a matter of fact, on the day of Pentecost, he's going to get up. He preaches this powerful sermon. 5,000 are saved. Man, praise the Lord. That's an accomplishment for the church, right? And what happens just as soon as the church starts growing? It starts growing like crazy, and the storms of persecution start. And persecution has been going on and on and on. Even down our present day, the church is being persecuted. We had a Bible study about persecution not too long ago. And why is the world persecuting the church? Because Jesus' way is narrow. And Jesus is the only way. And if God is in control, and the world, and Satan, and the devil are adamantly opposed to everything of God, what are they going to attack? The church. And that's why the church is always being persecuted. It's funny that we don't see the world attacking Islam. It's no threat to the world. We don't see the world attacking Buddhism. Buddhism is no threat to Satan. We don't see the world attacking Hinduism. Why? Which one of the million gods would we start picking on, right? And it's not a threat to the world. It's not a threat to our way of life. It's not a threat to the way people want to live for themselves, the big I. But now, Christianity, Jesus, you're a Christian. Oh, and the church is being attacked, is being persecuted. Now, I want to say this, and you can agree with me or disagree with me. It doesn't matter. This is what I believe. I believe that the true church is a whole lot smaller than what most people believe. Amen. The Bible, since the beginning, God has always dealt with a remnant. You know, he had a whole nation of Israel that was his chosen people, but it was always a remnant that was saved because everybody else just rebelled. And I think the church is the same way. You've got this core group of believers, these faithful few, this remnant. They're firm, they're going to stand, they're bold, they're courageous. But all the rest just want to rebel and do it their way. And when they start doing that, and they have, let me put it to you this way. This is going to make it easy to remember. There's a lot of fat preachers drawing a big fat salary from some big fat congregations because he's feeding them what they want to hear. And he's not telling them what they need to hear. That church has compromised. There are churches out there that compromise the Word of God and say, oh, you know, God might have said that, but he didn't really mean it. It's kind of allegorical. It can mean anything we want it to mean. So come on in. You are welcome here. And we know, and they've been in the Church of God, and all are welcome. But God doesn't save us to leave us where we are. He wants to save us and grow us into what he wants us to be. Amen. And that means taking those sins, those things that are in our life that made us, that fleshly man, that sin, and of the world, that's supposed to die. It's supposed to be buried. It's supposed to be put away. We're born again, a new creation in Christ. Amen. What? To become Christ-like. Right. Not to stay as we are. So you can't invite people into the church of God and say, hey, come as you are and stay as you are. You're as welcome here. Just make sure you drop your taxes and pew tax in the offering plate when it goes by. We really appreciate it. So, there's a lot of churches today that are compromised. They've lost sight of God. They've never seen Jesus on the water. They throw their oars in the lake. They dump their tackle over. They throw the cargo overboard to light the load so maybe they can weather the storm that the outside world is attacking the church by. They call us intolerant, make all kind of accusations, legalists, moralists, whatever. We need to be more compromising in love. Well, that's easy for them to say. But my rebuttal is, hey, I'm just a messenger boy. God's the editor. Go talk to him. I'm just going to preach. I'm going to tell you what he says. I didn't write it. As a matter of fact, I couldn't have come up with something this time. I may be a smart fellow, but hey, this is some good stuff, right? Amen. So we see this picture of the church in the storm, and they've lost sight of Jesus. But Jesus has also promised that remnant, those people who come to him, believing in him, surrender their lives, being forgiven, a home in heaven. In other words, he's taken us, he's put us into the boat, and just like what happened in the scripture, when Jesus shows up, and it's not that he is ever away from them anyway, but when they see him, the storm calms, and they appear at the land. And he's taken them safely to the other side. The church may be persecuted now, and that's for a reason. It's growing our faith. It's growing us as the bride of Christ. It's preaching the word. But he's also promised to take us to the other side. Amen. He's prepared a home for us in heaven, for those who believed, for those who surrendered their lives to Jesus. You're my Lord and Savior. There's a lot of people in a lot of churches today who cannot claim Jesus as Lord. Too many churches become country clubs. They get together, they sing, they have a good time, have a little fellowship, tea, coffee, donuts, whatever, and have a nice day. See you next week. And that's what it is. It's a weekly thing. Jesus has promised to come for his church, and he will be taking us to the other side. So, there's also a picture in this passage of the blind. The disciples, they're sitting in the boat. They can't see Jesus. It says Jesus saw them, and he come to them. They were at their wits' end. What were they going to do? They're battling the storm. They don't know what to do. But Jesus showed up, and he knew what to do. And why did he know what to do? God's in control. He was in control. It was his storm. He made it. He can do what he wants with it. And when he's through with it, he's going to calm it. He's going to put it to sleep. And if God's in control of that storm, he's in control of all storms. Could you imagine having to go through a problem in your life, a storm, and God was not in control of it? Anybody ever felt like your life was out of control? And you didn't know where God was? Well, how fortunate for us is, regardless of where we think God is, God knows exactly where we are. And he knows just how to get us out of it. And that's a scary place to be. I've been in that place before where you're in a situation that you just don't know how you're going to get out of it. Thank goodness. I trust the Lord, my Lord and Savior, and he knows the way. He's going to make the way, and eventually he's going to show me the way. And we find in this passage, Jesus shows up on the other side, and regardless of the doubts that we just saw in this story, that the disciples are doubting and questioning, and their hearts are hardened, the people see Jesus, they've heard the stories, and they are flocking in mass. Just let us touch your hem. We want to be healed. You know, just prior to the story in Mark 5, you remember we was talking about Jesus sent the disciples out in pairs, ministering, healing, and doing all sorts of things. And Jesus was using them. And now we find Jesus doing all the work himself. Because the disciples are still dumbfounded. They're like, wow. You know, their hearts were hardened. They couldn't believe what they just saw. And so they're just in shock. And Jesus is business as usual. Bring your sick. Bring your hurting. Bring your needs. And let me help. And it didn't say Jesus helped a few of them. It didn't say he had helped some of them. It didn't say he had a choice selection and that was it, or a quota to meet, and after that everybody else just cut off. He said he ministered and healed all who came to him. What a beautiful piece of theology for those who would come, or actually for those who would draw them himself because it's him that seeks us out in the first place.
Amen.
But for those who would come, for those who would accept, their lives will forever change. And the picture is, in this story, in this big overview, He wants to use us. But with or without us, His will is going to be done. Even if He has to do it Himself. And so, the story of our faith, the disciples have an opportunity to hear it. They have an opportunity to see it, to witness the miracles, to be in His presence. Where we don't have that. But we do have this story telling us that, hey, Jesus knew right where they was. Even when He wasn't physically with them. You get that?
Yeah.
No matter where you're at today, in your storms, in your life, Jesus is with you. There is never a time when you're alone. And there is never an instance where you have to face a stronghold against Satan alone. God is with you. God is in control. As a matter of fact, those storms, you remember the moral lesson of Job, right? Those storms can only come to our lives by God's permission. He allowed it. And if He allowed it, it must serve some purpose. So, take a look here for fast. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Well, as we walk with Him, we're going to walk one of two ways. Individually and corporately as a church, we either walk by faith or we walk in rebellion. You realize that? It's either His way or it's not His way. It's His way or you're rebelling. You may be going, well, I didn't rebel. I just didn't necessarily agree with doing it. Well, no, it's rebellion. If your daddy told you to get up and go out to the shop and get the hoe and get the bean field and dig up cucumber all day long, and you went to the shop and you grabbed the hoe and you went to the garden and trimmed around the tomatoes, did you do what He asked you to do? No. Was you working? Yeah, I was working for Him. Look what I did. I worked hard all day. Look at the sweat on my brow. But it was an act of rebellion. You didn't do what you started. We're either walking by faith, we're standing boldly and courageously for the Lord, or we're compromising as individuals. As a corporate church, we're either being the church He's called us to be, or we're a compromising church. And you know what? That's just compromising. That's what everybody's calling it these days. That's just sugarcoating. That's a rebellious church. That is that Laodicean church spoken of in Revelation chapter 3 that's just totally repulsive to God. And that's the age we live in. And that is so sad. As a church, as individuals and as a church, we need to protect our witness. We need to be about the Lord's work. And we need to make sure we are being the ambassadors He's called us to be in an uncompromising way. That doesn't mean we turn our backs on the needy. Just as Jesus, we're supposed to love the sinner, but hate the sin. We walk by faith, and may each and every storm we go through grow our faith. We're going to go through storms. As individuals, we'll go through storms as a church. Just back in this morning, all eyes closed. And just consider your own walk for a minute. Where are you with Jesus? Has there been times in your life when you faced that storm and you allowed Satan to enter thoughts into your mind about, well, where is Jesus? Folks, I dare say each and every one of us go through that often. When we have doubts, when we have insecurities, when Jesus hasn't showed up in the way we thought He should. Maybe we've been driven by a storm so deep in our depression we question even the reality of God. But let's be honest, you're here today because of Jesus. Rebuild himself to you in a mighty way. He's drawn you to himself. He's revealed himself to you. And him sending another storm into your life is just another way of saying he loves you. And he's not through with you yet. He wants to take you in your faith to heights you can't even imagine. Are you living a life today fully surrendered to the Lord Jesus? Or is it time, once again, to make that visit to the altar, to recommit a life of commitment to the Lord Jesus, to recommit to live a life fully sold out, commit to a life and a way of living that's bold and courageous and firm in your faith? Maybe you're here today and through this message, the Spirit's opened up the thought to you that you've never truly been saved. You really haven't accepted Jesus for who he is. You've never really surrendered control of your life. Jesus is not the Lord of your life. The big I is the Lord. Maybe it's time to let that go, to come to him and say, Lord, save me, forgive me, I want to be yours. If that's your prayer today, our time of invitation, this is God's invitation to you to come and make things right with him, whatever your needs. If he's drawing you to him, the time to answer is now. If you hear his voice call, harden not your heart. Stand and have a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we love you. We're so thankful for your never-ending, always abiding presence in our church, in our lives, in our homes. And Father, may you always have your will and your way in our lives. And help us as your children, as believers in Christ, to recognize those areas that at times we go through when we ourselves are our own problem. We get in the way and we lose sight. Father, help us to see the reality of the storms for what they are. Grow our faith, Father. Help us to grow stronger and stronger in you each day. And be bold and courageous for you. Lord, if you're tugging on hearts today and calling your children to yourself, give us the boldness and the courage to approach this sweet, precious place called an altar and commune with your Spirit. Father, whatever you're laying on our hearts today, help us to step out of faith and walk in newness of life with you. In Jesus' name.